that Kaitlynn Durrani is going to join us today. Kaitlynn, meet Danny Moore. Now, I'm not sure Danny realized this, but Danny had a Navy conversation with Kaitlynn's father a little earlier, just one of those things that came up. But when we talk about, especially that quote that you had, when you talk about people who refuse to give up on life and get up each morning to battle to gain ground, let me do a little introduction of Kaitlynn for everyone. She has a compelling story of resilience and faith. And Mom and Dad will tell you that it's also a story of prayer. Kaitlynn was in a devastating head-on car accident the day before her 19th birthday, so in October 2020, that left her in a coma and on life support. Broken neck, broken back, brain trauma, and just a host of other problems that you can imagine from that type of trauma. Despite being told by multiple doctors that she probably would not survive, her parents held fast to their faith and their prayers. And 2 months later, Kaitlynn woke up. So she's been continuing that long and difficult recovery path, but she was actually a student at Westmont when that happened. As she recovered and decided to continue her studies, she ended up transferring into CCU, and she's pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Pre-Physician Studies because she wants to be able to serve, especially people that have been through traumatic incidents like her. But if you would, Kaitlynn, share a little bit of why did you decide CCU when you decided to start your studies again?
So after the accident, I went back to Westmont, and I had this presence that God was giving me, this presence that it was just a strength because a lot of medical things keep happening, and my parents were spending a ton of money flying out to take care of me, to see me, and I could feel the strain on them, which then led the strain on me, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that God's like, you need to go home. Like, you need to go home. And it was a really hard decision. And everybody prayed for it. And I went to CCU because I needed to go home. And all the ducks kind of just fit into place. CCU had the pre-physician studies that I wanted to do. It was close to home. Everything just worked together to transfer.
And you were familiar with CCU before?
And then since the accident, I missed 1.5 years of school. I also did summer classes to try to get my credits back up so I could graduate. And all throughout my entire life, like, CCU has always been there.
That's great.
And so transferring just felt right.
And so Brian and Sarah, there y'all are right here. Brian and Sarah, give a wave. We've got the head of school of Valley High School. And so again, the way that God just connects dots and really invests in making sure that we're connected, have that community connectedness, always is such a surprise. Obviously, when it comes to somebody that's going to get up and battle every day, definitely God has built that into Kaitlynn's story. But this being the Moore's first student scholarship awarded out of their fund and everything, can you share a little bit, how did that awarding of that scholarship bless you and your family?
It was extremely blissful, and it was more of a blessing in disguise, just learning about the scholarship and what you have prepared and your mom and her character and her legacy. I felt honored and blessed to even get awarded this scholarship because of who your mother was. I aspired to be like that, and after the accident, I inspired to still be like that. And it really helped too because I'm turning 24 this year, and financially I am not dependent on my parents for student loans, and so I'm independent, and I also can't have a job as I'm disabled in the state of Colorado. And with that, I couldn't pay for my senior year, my last year of college, and me wanting to be a PA and just not being able to pay for school, like it was devastating. And then when I heard that I got this scholarship, I filled up in tears. I was overwhelming. I told my family, because it gave me a chance to have my studies be continued, that I fought so hard to get back to school, that it's not over yet.
So Susan and Deanie know that God has connected your heart to another Navy family, with a young woman that has that grit that you were talking about. And so we look forward to y'all getting to know the Duranis and that impact. But Deanie, when you hoped about that scholarship and the impact that it might have, share a little bit.
This is the impact. My mother, was the strongest, most determined woman. And when she passed, the one thing I got her Bible. And you could go and read what she's highlighted and tell where she was in her life. And I think she would be honored to know that her spirit continues, because she loved the Lord and she loved people and she loved serving. So I'm just honored to be here today, and and this was not fair.